Alex Pereira cannot stop beating Izzy. What is more Shakespearean than Israel Adesanya losing to a guy everyone expected him to beat, and then a video coming out of Alex Pereira teaching said person a technique that he used to almost starch Izzy at the end of the first round? Look at this.
Quando jogar aqui, você joga, ó. Eu desequilíbrio. Então joga o tronco um pouquinho pra lá, ó.
All right, so after being very gracious in victory, Sean Strickland has ripped Israel Adesanya in a way that is actually not just him talking trash. It really is a way, like, where what he says makes sense, where you're like, what? Yeah, what was Izzy doing? You know, like, there are people who talk trash just to talk trash, right? You're making fun of whoever you're going to fight, or you genuinely don't like them, or in some cases he points, the person points something out, and you're like, yeah, dude, that is really bizarre. And that's what this situation was. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. And then we got two other things to talk about in this video. Number one is that this video emerged of Alex Pereira training with Sean Strickland and showing him something that literally translated exactly into what happened in this fight. I love that, dude. That is one of my favorite things. Like in the Valentina Shevchenko fight where she lost to Grasso and they showed the back take, which when I watched it the first time, I was like, dude, that was pretty lucky, man. She spun right into that. And then they showed her trading that exact back take. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, or like Masvidal when he jump kneed Ben Askren, and you're like, wow. And then they show him training it before. I love when preparation equates to exactly what happens in the fight. So we're going to look at that, especially given the fact that it's Alex Pereira showing Sean Strickland how to do a specific technique that then he used against Izzy, in a critical moment of the fight, potentially the most critical moment of the fight. So we're going to look at that, and then we're just going to briefly discuss whether or not we think all the doggy madness might have contributed to Izzy's performance. Because, listen, dude, like, at the end of the day, what the doggy stuff, that's weird, man. And I'm not even honestly trying to bring it up again because that was covered extensively last week. I just now, in hindsight, after he lost, it seems like something to examine whether or not that affected his mental state, because I don't know, man. Like, there's a lot of trash talk you can throw at a person, but, like, let's just say hypothetically that he for real has some kind of weird thing with doggies, right? Like, for real. Not like, not joking around. Because, there's nothing definitive in there aside from I don't know. But you don't understand what I'm saying. Like, imagine if he really has, like, a for real secret that he's kind of, like, alluded to, but he didn't think anyone would know. And then someone, Guru compiles all of it. It goes viral, and everyone's like, that would be legit embarrassing. Like, really embarrassing if you're him. So, we'll just talk about whether or not that affected the performance. But before we get into it, if you don't mind subscribing to the channel, I love you guys. Thank you for doing that. We gained like 2,000 subscribers yesterday, or in the last 24 hours, something like that. So I appreciate you guys very much. If you have not subscribed yet, please do that. Contribute to my success. I love you guys. Let's do it. All right, so let's start with this clip.
Very animated there in the last minute of the fight. What were you saying to Izzy in the ring?
I think I just called him the Chinaman. I said, come on, Chinaman, let's fight. That's what he is, right? The Chinaman. And here's the thing, guys. Izzy's a fucking legend, and I don't like to make fun of him because he is a fucking legend. But, he fucking came out with, like, the Chinese colors, dude. The fucking Chinese colors, man. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? No, I'm asking you guys. Like, I'm asking you guys, what is the logic coming out, like, to fucking the CCP Communist fucking party, bro? Like, does he want to go? Like, is he like, motherfucker, dude? Even now talking about it, I can't even wrap my head around that fucking spineless shit. But at the end of the day, man, Izzy made it easy. Like, he fucking walked out with Chinese shorts on. Like, I know he's not Australian, but, like, how the fuck does that happen? Like, I'm asking you guys, like, why did he have Chinese shorts on? I'm asking you guys. Like, at the end of the day, man, this is a problem with this world. All Izzy had to do is say, hey, you guys, Australia, New Zealand. I'm sure Izzy spent a lot of time in Australia. Where does Izzy live? Does he live in New Zealand or Australia? All Izzy had to do, guys, I am an immigrant to New Zealand. I'm an immigrant to this part of the world. And you guys welcomed me as one of your own. And you guys gave me a great life. And I want to thank everybody for that and give me this opportunity. But he fucking didn't. He said, I am fucking Chinese.
What is there to gain from the China stuff when you're the middleweight champion in the UFC. So there's that girl in the Olympics. She was from San Francisco, but she would spend the winters or summers or something in China, and she's a gold medalist skier, and she had to decide whether or not she was going to be under the American flag or under the Chinese flag, and she chose China.
For those of you who don't know,
Yeah.
I did some decent coverage on this, but she is an American citizen who chose to compete for China in the Olympics.
To represent China.
So she's getting she was paraded around China as a national hero. Look, she was used to soft power. It got so high up that even Xi Jinping was mentioning stuff. Sure. When Xi Jinping's mentioning stuff, that's like, whoa, right? Anyway, it was prolific. She was being paraded around as like, look, she doesn't care about her country, America. America's fallen. It's in shambles. It's a dead country. Look at she preferred to represent her Chinese heritage.
Right? So she's like, I'm Chinese. She grew up in the United States. She lives in San Francisco. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go do it for China. And I remember watching that, and she's winning gold medals. And I'm like, what the So you sign off on this new young person thing that like the United States is the worst, man. The United States just stands for just the worst things in the world. And it's like, you want to know why you believe that? It's because China controls TikTok.
The difference in like TikTok in America is like dances and people doing pranks and people doing things to try to get viral views. In China, it highlights scientific achievements, athletic achievements. It highlights like people doing things, accomplishing things.
Wow. So it's a lot more curated.
Yes, much more, but curated by the CCP, where they're trying, or whatever, in conjunction with, where they're trying to elevate the quality of the lives of the kids that are addicted to this TikTok.
Okay? And they're telling you the United States is the worst. So you're watching them poison your brain and convince you that, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, shut up, girl. Like, I didn't like that at all. Now, Izzy is not American, right? But he's a hell of a lot more, Western than he is Chinese. So, like, I don't know. What does he have to gain from that? I don't understand. Maybe he's just playing into it knowing that Strickland was going to call it out, but I found that extremely bizarre once he said it out loud. Now, here's another thing, too. And this is a big thing that I forgot to allude to in the beginning. What we need to also discuss here is what's going to happen next as it relates to the middleweight title picture. Because Dana obviously was like, let's just do an immediate rematch. And people were kind of like, all right, some people are on board with that. Other people are not. I will give you my opinion also, but you have to actually look at this and like, what's the landscape? Like, what is the actual landscape here and what is likely to happen? Because there is a world where the Izzy era is over, right? And I'm not talking about like Izzy just not, I don't know. Like look at the landscape, okay? So Sean Strickland demonstrated that he has apparently Izzy kryptonite. Now, Izzy for sure looked past Sean Strickland in hindsight. I can say that unequivocally, and I'll tell you exactly why. Because when Izzy tells Dana, I guarantee you I will beat him, right? I guarantee you I'll beat him. That is looking past him right there. Right there. We know that that's what he did. We know that's what he did. And so how could you read that any other way? If he feels comfortable guaranteeing victory to the boss, how could you see it any other way? He's looking past him. He could say he's respecting him as a fighter. He could say that he's respecting the threat that he brings, but he's not, because he guaranteed victory. I don't care who anybody is in any combat sport. If you guarantee it, you are looking past your opponent. It's as simple as that, dude. So what I mean by that, though, is there is a high probability that the fight will be different in the second fight. Doesn't mean Izzy's going to win. But Izzy will not look past Sean Strickland again. That's for sure. And he'll come in with a very specific game plan. It's possible that just in terms of game planning and all of that stuff, he just looked past him. He's like, his skills pose no danger to me. There is no chance. He doesn't have knockout power. How is he going to beat me? Which is exactly what everybody thought going into the fight. Everybody thought that. How is he possibly going to win? Right? Because people underestimated Sean Strickland's defense because he got knocked out by Pereira. It's as simple as that, right? So everybody's looking at it like, how does he win? How does he win? Everyone had the exact same take. So now Izzy knows exactly how Sean Strickland wins. So maybe he comes out and it's different. But here's the thing. He got the brakes beat off him, number one, for 5 straight rounds, which is more definitive than a knockout, in my opinion. Everybody's opinion. You know, what he did was incredible, and he did it in enemy territory, right? I mean, he turned it into, he turned it into a positive environment, like he said in his press conference when he's like, "Hey, Izzy, why wouldn't you just do this?" That's a great take. All you have to do is say, "I'm an immigrant to this country. Thank you guys for welcoming me. I've had an incredible life," and they're going to be on your side. And you come out with China. I don't understand that either. It's weird. That is a weird thing to do. But Sean Strickland did that very well. Everyone's got, I have another video coming on my other channel where I made the mistake of going on Twitter and looking up what like haters were saying about Sean Strickland, and good God. Blech. That's what it was like, Let's see what the haters are saying. Oh my God, the same cast of characters that have the worst takes on everything did not disappoint.
Sean Strickland is a racist, sexist, disgusting homophobe.
Shut up. Good God. Oh, he's a racist?
He's a racist. He's admitted he's a neo-Nazi.
Did he admit he is a neo-Nazi? Is that what he did? That's what he did? We're going to talk about all that. Is Chris Curtis his best friend? What? Is Chris Curtis his best friend? I mean, yeah. Is Chris Curtis black? Yeah. So he's not racist. Just shut the fuck up. Anyway, but look for that video on my other channel. But my point is, like, he's a very controversial person, but then he does a great job of getting the fans behind him, right? He's not a heel. Even though it seems like, I get it, he's playing a character playing the heel. He's not playing the heel. He's partly playing a character, but he knows how to get the crowd behind him. Izzy decided to come out in China shorts. What is that about, dude? Anyway, so when it comes to the title picture right now and who gets to fight who next, I do think they probably do the rematch next. But here's the thing. Here is the big X factor that I think no one is really looking at. If Khamzat walks through Paulo Costa, right? If Khamzat walks through Costa like he has every other person, takes him down and just strangles him, we are leaving the Izzy era and we are walking into the Khamzat era. Now, Dana did not like Strickland winning the title, I think, for 2 reasons. One, because Izzy and Dricus du Plessis was a bird in hand, and the other is because, why am I doing this? I'm all one because, anyway, so 1, because of that, and then 2, because of the things that Strickland has said. I think that Dana knew, because once I looked at the Twitter stuff, that's when I realized, I was like, oh, it's not just him in the press conference, right? It's like Dana understands the media better than I did at first glance. I hadn't thought about the fact that because Strickland has talked about the fact that when he was a teenager, he was a skinhead neo-Nazi, right? He's saying it as a basis of understanding for why he's not racist and how he was an idiot when he was younger, how martial arts changed his life. It's a great story. But when you look at the mainstream media, do you really think that's how they're going to say? Like, they have been looking for a neo-Nazi skinhead boogeyman that's their number one thing. That's their best case scenario. And so anything that he says off the cuff that sounds like girls should get back in the kitchen. Again, we're going to talk about that in the other video. The mainstream media can paint any way that they want to. And Dana knows that. He can't take back the fact that he said that he's a neo-Nazi, whatever. Now, bottom line, he has a belt now, so it doesn't matter, right? Because his numbers are going to do great. I think Sean Strickland is going to be a great champion. If he's able to retain the belt, I think he's going to be incredibly popular. And I think Dana, after this week, probably knows that. And I still think that he's upset, A, because Israel Adesanya is the biggest star in the UFC current, probably going to be overtaken soon by Sean O'Malley, and obviously Conor if he comes back. But I think he's going to be pleasantly surprised by Sean Strickland, but also Sean Strickland has a lot of baggage when it comes to the media just because he was too honest. You know what I mean? And they're looking for a white supremacy boogeyman. That is just what it is. And so if you take that into account and assume that Dana's not going to change his mind about not wanting Strickland to be the champion, then he is looking at Izzy or Khamzat. Those are his best two options at 185. Okay. And Khamzat, if he beats Costa, comes into a title fight against Strickland or Izzy. I don't know. Listen, dude. We haven't seen Strickland fight against someone with tremendous takedown defense, right? I think Gilbert Burns showed great takedown defense, but the other thing is that Gilbert Burns is not just a black belt in jiu-jitsu, which Sean Strickland is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. People don't know that, but he is. But there's, trust me, there are black belts in jiu-jitsu, and then there are black belts in jiu-jitsu. They're the biggest gaps at any belt, right, between how good someone can be at the same belt is at black belt. I mean, that's just a fact. There are great, there are white belts who have a ton of grappling experience, and then ones who start at zero. I mean, there's huge gaps there. But a lower level black belt versus a world champion black belt, there is an ocean between those two things. Gilbert Burns is as good as it gets. So when Khamzat took him down, he was facing a lot of danger, and that's why that fight remained on the feet. Every other time he's fought, he has just taken guys down instantly and just strangled them, or beaten them half to death and then strangled them. So if he's able to do that at 185, and I don't think there's a big I think Izzy is an easy fight for Khamzat. And I'm not trying to trounce on Izzy while he's down, but I'm just saying I was at UFC 271, and everybody else who saw it knows if Robert Whittaker can take you down, Khamzat can take you down. And Khamzat's a completely different animal when he's on top of you, dude. He's a nightmare. He is as nightmarish as it gets on top, right? So there's a high probability that Khamzat ends up being champion anyway. Costa has great takedown defense. This will be Khamzat's first time. Bottom line, I think if Khamzat gets through Costa, he gets through everybody, right? Dana knows that. So, just to cut this conversation short, let me just say this. My ideal situation, I think, is Izzy fights Dricus next, right? Izzy fights Dricus next, and you do Strickland against the winner of Costa and Khamzat, right? Because honestly, there's another thing. If they want Izzy to be champion, I don't know if they want him to fight Sean Strickland again. What indication was there that he can beat Strickland? You know what I mean? Strickland has only been knocked down once in his entire career, and it was against Pereira. That's not going to happen again. And also, Izzy's a very different fighter than Pereira. Izzy is a much more technical version of Pereira, right? And Pereira has nuclear hands of stone knockout power if he clips you. That's not Izzy. That's just not Izzy. Izzy clipped Pereira with that shot on the temple, okay? It's going to be really hard to catch Strickland with a shot on the temple when he rolls punches so well. You're almost going to have to change the angle of how you throw strike. You know what I mean? So that's what I think. Now, let's look at this clip. Speaking of Pereira, look at this clip right here of Pereira teaching Strickland how to sit down on his punches.
Tá parado. Tipo assim, o cara tá meio forte. Quando jogar aqui, você joga, ó. Eu desequilíbrio. Então, joga o tronco pouquinho pra lá, ó.
Good night. Good night. Well, not good night. Not good night. But good night. You know what I mean? I love that. I love that stuff. There's nothing to add to that, actually. That is the kind of thing that I love, is seeing translation between training and what happens in the cage. And then lastly, I just wanted to touch on this again because a lot of people were asking me, they're like, do you think that MMA Guru broke Israel Adesanya's brain and that's why he lost the fight? I just candidly don't think that Izzy fought bad. That's all that I could say. Like I said earlier, I'm sure if Izzy really does have some kind of deep puppy secret that he can't help but just leak out of his mouth, he shout to the puppy. They're all, what do you mean? What do you mean by that? He's all, what? They're all, you said shout to the puppy. What? You said you are breaking records. I can't even do this. It's so weird, dude. Izzy, you said you were breaking records in preparation for this fight, and you were implying that that was a sexual comment. What? Yeah. And then you said shout to the puppy. Huh? You said shout to the puppy. Does that mean Like, who's the puppy? Oh, man. Okay, is it like a code word? Oh, man, can't wait for this fight, dude. What? Or what's happening? What? Are you saying you have sex with dogs? What? You know? It's weird. Weird. So if he got caught in that situation, he probably was extremely mortified. If you really think about the build-up to this fight, he had his sunglasses on. He didn't really engage. He played into the China thing. I mean, I thought he was, kind of intentionally allowing Sean to promote the fight. But the more I think about all of it, I just think that he overlooked Sean. I think he overlooked Sean. I don't think he's going to beat him in the rematch. I really don't. Sean was exceptional. I don't think that he wins in the rematch. I think Sean beats him again, which is another reason that Dana and the matchmakers are honestly are very likely to, I don't know about very likely. If Dana goes, yeah, we do the rematch, they probably do it. But I don't think it's a lock, dude. I think once the matchmakers get behind closed doors and they look at the board the way that I'm looking at it, they might not like that Strickland matchup. And they might want to do Strickland against, let's just wait and see what happens with Costa and Khamzat. And then if Costa wins, we let Khamzat fight Strickland because Izzy should beat Costa, so we'll let Costa do it. You know what I mean? I think Izzy should fight Dricus. Don't let go of that beef. Do not let go of that beef. Go Izzy versus Dricus, winner of that versus the winner of Khamzat and Costa versus Strickland. Those are my thoughts. Anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Bye-bye.